My fellow football fans, my name is Adam Cleary and I represent the world's biggest football magazine and world's, getting quite big-ish YouTube channel, FourFourTwo. And I sit before you today because we, as football fans, must unite and stop Manchester City from signing Josko Gvardiol. Because they already won everything last season and he's just... so perfect for them. Right, yes, hello, if you're a Man City fan, this isn't actually a video trying to get you to stop buying him. I support Newcastle. I think people should be allowed to buy whoever they want. Right, anyway, you're Pep Guardiola. Right, you're not. Obviously, we're going to pretend. It's called pretending. We're going to pretend you're Pep Guardiola. Right, you bought Erling Haaland, and that's somehow the biggest success story you've ever seen. You somehow got Julia Roberts back from Man United last season, and then... you won the treble. If it is possible to have a more perfect season than that, I lack the imagination to conceive of it. So the question becomes for you right now, how do you improve upon perfection? You can't. But what you can do, and what they're going to try and do with this transfer, is you can future-proof perfection. They can bring in a player right now who isn't going to take them to any new levels, but is going to make it so much harder for the teams behind to drag them back down to theirs. Allow me to explain. Apologies if you've watched a lot of our videos and I've done this gag like a million times by now, but here's Manchester City's starting lineup. It's a 4-3-3, except of course, no, it's not. John Stones actually plays in the midfield. He comes out as shuffle along into a back three. They've got this now famed sort of 3-2 build-up. And while it's very easy to look at De Bruyne, at Haaland, at Grealish and sort of see these players that brought them success through their goals, what's actually key to what Man City did last year was these 5 players here. This not ingenious, but certainly very clever, very tricky to play against build-up of 3 at the back and 2 in the middle. And let me promise you one thing right now. This here, despite it being one of their biggest strengths, is going to be where teams try and target them next season. And that's because it's a high-risk, high-reward strategy. Like, John Stones was amazing pushing into the midfield, but he is still a defender at heart, and his decision-making was occasionally not as good as, say, Rodri's was. And Akanji and Ake, they were brilliant in these wide centre-back roles, but it was still possible to slightly isolate them out wide when they don't really want to be there. Credit to Pep and credit to all the players individually. It worked so well, you didn't really see any of these flaws coming to the fore. But if you're any team in the Premier League next season, that's what you're looking at. There is some uncomfortableness here. It is quite risky. If we can find a way to target these sort of softer spots in it, we might get some joy. Maybe teams are going to double up on them and try and force mistakes leading to high turnovers. Maybe they're going to shut off all their short passing options, so they've got to go long where their pass completion numbers naturally sort of drop off a lot. Who knows? But they're going to try everything. And this is fundamentally why they will spend anything to get Gvardiol in, because not only does he have a very specific skill set that means he's almost impossible to target for any kind of mistake or pressure or anything like that, he also, from this area of the pitch, can add a goal threat. Fundamentally in Ake and Akanji and even Stones and Diaz, City have some of the best passing defenders in the world. Now, these numbers will look absolutely insane, but you've got to remember City have a lot of the ball, they pass the ball loads anyway, so they're kind of inflated in that sense, but the fact that they are passing the ball this much and their completion numbers are high show how well suited to it these players are. But with the exception of Stones, obviously plays far further up the pitch now and is way more involved in the attacking phase, this is the kind of possession and the kind of passing that opposition teams are happy for City to have. It is just sort of the build-up and it is just kind of getting knocked around in their defensive third. It's only when it moves into a more dangerous player that you have to really worry about it. Look at Nathan Ake here, for example. He had a fantastic season last year for City. They're going to give him a new contract. He's not somebody you would have looked at and thought, oh, that can be improved upon very readily. But here are his passing stats, which are superhuman. But here are his passing stats in relation to the attacking phase. He doesn't really create any chances. There's not really any key passes in there. He very rarely gets the ball into the penalty area. And I know that stat for passes in the final third is absolutely massive, but you got to remember this is City, so Ake just basically holding his position in the middle of the pitch and giving little 2 and 3 yarders here as they recycle everything around. That's going to massively overinflate that stat. Basically, for all Ake's good work for how important he is in the build-up, he doesn't really ever do anything that creates a chance. He has an incredibly low shot-creating action statistic. So why does City want Gvardiol so much? Well, here's Nathan Ake's brilliant passing stats, and here are his. He plays for a possession-based team in the Bundesliga as well. He can absolutely hang with City's players when it comes to just knocking the ball around in the build-up. But here are Nathan Ake's bad passing stats. Here is just the proof that it's very hard to contribute to the attack when you're playing left centre-back. And here, here are Gvardiol's. He's a freak. He shouldn't be able to do that, and he does. He does loads. The reason I keep mentioning comparing him to Ake, by the way, is because Gvardiol plays on the left of a back three currently. So you can have him in a two in the middle because he's just a centre-back. He's a left-sided centre-back. But when you make this change formationally, he will just go here. Like it's the most natural thing in the world. And how does he do that, you ask? Well, he has two tools in his locker which just break football if City get him. So first off, the kind of pass he can do, which players like Ake can't, is like a really penetrative, progressive through the lines ball. He's so brave and so accurate. So many teams, especially in the Premier League now, have really well drilled, well organised pressing units. They want to put that pressure on the centre-backs to try and force them to either go backwards or to lose the ball. You can't do that with him. He will just really comfortably retain possession until he sees any kind of gap in the lines, and he will break your press with that ball. And that's precisely why all those key passing statistics and balls into the penalty area stats are so high, because yeah, he'll do that on the edge of his own box and beat the first line of the press, but also he will just see how far that ball can go. If there's an opportunity to get somebody in on goal from that position, he's got the confidence and the ability to just do it. And this is the really scary bit. If that pass isn't on, what he will do is simply go past you. And this is what makes him so different to everybody else out there right now. This is what means he future-proofs Manchester City's system. You can pressure defenders all you want. You can force them to go back to the goalkeeper. You can force them to play lower percentage balls. You can try and get them to lose the ball. If they are so comfortable with it at their feet that they will simply beat you, take you on, run the ball up the field, and add to the attacking system, there's not really anything you can do about that. Like as I've already said, pressing is just so important to modern football right now that one of the most important things you can have in your team to help against a press is like a press-resistant central midfielder, someone who's good on the ball but can also beat a man, so that if you get too tight to him, you can take that player out of the equation. All the best teams have somebody like that, but we've never really seen yet a press-resistant centre-back. So just to put that in one sentence for you, you can't afford to get too tight to him because he'll just go past you, and you also can't afford to sit off him because his passing ability will kill you. But that's fine, right? Because this all must come at a cost. Like he's not very good defensively, or his position's quite bad, or he's not very good at tackling, or he's bad in the air. No, absolutely none of that. And he is near flawless in everything he does, whether it's in the air, whether it's on the ground. He is a perfect centre-back. All that, and he's 21, so he's only gonna get quicker and stronger and better and smarter. And yeah, you can't improve upon perfection, but you can make sure that you are perfect for the next 10 years. And this is important, you know, because it's going to be a tricky season for Man City next year. Like, it's going to be fairly transitional for them. Like, they've lost Gundogan, they may well lose Bernardo Silva, they're probably going to lose Kyle Walker. That's, like, they've got a great squad, but that's a lot of upheaval to be going through right after you've just come off such a big win. So if there's ever a time for other teams to try and get at them, it's next season. And also one final very important point. I thought City did really well last season in spite of the fact they had no Croatians, when, you know, it's normally the team with the most Croatians that goes on to win things. So adding 2 in one window, wow. That's all I've got to say on that one. Please subscribe to the channel if you like this. The more subscribers we get, the more things we can do. We want to do so much next season, so that's very helpful if you do that. Get me on Twitter at Adam Cleary, Clery. Buy the latest issue of FourFourTwo. It's the season preview. It's the best one, according to my mom. And until next time, been Adam Cleary. Hope you've enjoyed the ride. I'll see you soon. God.